right now, we're going to turn the key and speed up your vocabulary, and it's just going to take off like a really fast car. I was about to say cheetah, but then that wouldn't make much sense with turning on the key. But I want to teach you some super useful C1 vocabulary, which is one of Cambridge's highest levels of proficiency. And if you are someone who enjoys building your vocabulary, learning new words and phrases, please subscribe, turn on notifications. That way I can become your teacher. My name is Wes. The channel is Interactive English. It is all about helping you reach your fluency goals. So we are really going to get into the weeds, and I want to teach you the meaning, talk about how these words and phrases are used in context, as well as give you the pronunciation of some of this vocabulary so that you can say these words just like me. So let's go ahead and get started with some useful C1 phrases. I want to teach you some useful C1 phrases to help you develop your overall vocabulary. And let's begin with a phrase that I just mentioned, not think straight. This means to be unable to use your mind in an effective way. And often you're going to use this phrase when talking about your inability to do something. I could say, last night I didn't get any sleep, so I just can't think straight. Or this morning I didn't have my cup of coffee, so right now I'm unable to think straight. You may also hear people use this in the continuous tense to talk about a specific time. I could say, last night I made a mistake, I wasn't thinking straight. Or perhaps I'm telling you, you're too close to the problem, you're not thinking straight. For pronunciation, this phrase does have a couple of overlapping sounds with the final stop T in not, and then we can move right into that voiceless TH sound in think, because your tongue is going to be in the same position right up top behind your front teeth. Not think straight. It just allows us to say it a little faster, to not think straight.
And for what it's worth, she's not thinking straight.
I know I'm not thinking straight, but I don't want to think straight.
I think he's on drugs, and he's not thinking straight.
The drinks, the flirting, I couldn't think straight.
In any event, it just means whatever happens. So you use this when talking about something that could possibly happen, and then basically you're commenting, well, whatever happens, this is what we're going to do. So let me give you some examples. I could say, the weather forecast looks bad, but in any event, the concert will go on as planned. Or, I may not make it to the meeting, but in any event, you can reach me by phone. Or, the project is running a little late, but in any event, we are committed to finishing on time. One thing I want you to be aware of is that in British English, you may hear someone say, at all events. Now, people are also going to use in any event, and in the US, you are only going to hear in any event. But I want you to be aware of this. For pronunciation, linking may occur. This is when we link the final consonant sound of one word with the beginning vowel sound of the next word. So we can link the final consonant sound in with the vowel sound in any. In any. I want you to repeat after me right now. In any. In any event. Excellent.
I still don't know what you and your president said to her in that room to get her to sign.
In any event, she signed the treaty.
Oh, I didn't do anything.
No, in any event, he's back where he belongs.
There's no need for such formalities.
In any event, judging from the king's enthusiasm, the Queen Mother will be a Queen Grandmother.
That'd be a lovely day.
And the next one that I have for you is in the event of something. This just means if something happens. Now, don't confuse this with the previous phrase, in any event, because they do sound a little similar. But if we're talking about in the event of something, I want you to know that the something is really bad news, and there are some common collocations with this phrase. In the event of an emergency, in the event of a disaster, in the event of bad weather, or in the event of a delay. And really, you're going to follow this phrase telling someone what should be done or what will happen. In the event of an emergency, try to find an exit door. Let me give you some more examples, some funny examples using this phrase. In the event of an apocalypse, I would spend the first 20 minutes wondering why my internet doesn't work. And I think this is probably true for many of us. In the event of a disaster, I have strategically placed rum in various locations. Good idea. For pronunciation, two things I want to mention. The word the has two different pronunciations, the and the. In this case, we're going to use the because the next word begins with a vowel sound, the event. We can also link the final consonant sound in event with the vowel sound in of, in the event of. Just listen for those two things.
In the event of a crash, the driver always protects his side first.
The doctor entrusted me with your contact details in the event of an emergency.
In the event of fire, follow the older heavyset lady in just a t-shirt.
Then we have of no consequence or of little consequence. You could use either phrase. They mean the same thing, which is not important. I could say, my boss thinks that my opinion is of little consequence to her. Or the new information is of no consequence because we had already made a decision. Now, you could also use the phrases not of any consequence or not of much consequence. They all work. But if you're curious as to which phrase is more commonly used, we can check out Ngram Viewer. And as you can see, most of the time people are going to say of no consequence or of little consequence. To give you some more context using these phrases, I have some news headlines for you. Brain size of little consequence. Iran government says U.S. election results of no consequence. And AU vote to leave International Criminal Court of little consequence. And in this case, AU is referring to the African Union. For pronunciation, just keep in mind the word little, you're going to hear me pronounce those T's as a flap T. It's going to sound like a soft D, and this is a distinct part of the American accent. So I'm going to pronounce little with a flap T because the T's follow a vowel sound and then come before a dark L. Little, bottle, settle, battle. You hear all those flap T's. Here are some other examples.
No, it is of no consequence. Aegon will be king.
Really don't mean to interrupt.
It is of no consequence, Captain.
Whether or not you care to act on this information is of little consequence.
Next is from scratch. This just means from the beginning without using anything that exists. Maybe I ask you, do you like my lasagna? I made it from scratch. And this is not true. I'm not a very good cook. But I want you to be aware that there are some very useful collocations with this phrase and different verbs that are often used with this phrase, like to make something from scratch, or to build something from scratch, or develop something from scratch, or start something from scratch. When pronouncing this phrase, I think it's pretty simple and straightforward, from scratch.
We're building our house from scratch. We can put down whatever we want.
We're starting from scratch.
Yeah, from scratch.
Great.
Now, would you care to join me for an authentic frontier dinner made entirely from scratch?
The last straw, or the final straw. You could use either phrase. They both mean the same thing, and they refer to the last in a series of unpleasant events that makes you feel like you cannot continue to accept a bad situation. It's the last straw, or it's the final straw, and you can really sense that emotion. Often you're going to use this as a standalone statement. I can't take it anymore. I've had enough. That's the last straw. We can go back to Ngram Viewer if you want to see which phrase is more commonly used, and as you can see, more often people are going to say the last straw. For pronunciation, elision may occur. This is when sounds or syllables get removed. So the final T in last, it comes between two consonant sounds, so it's going to elide. You're not really going to hear it, the last straw, or the final straw.
Your complete lack of table manners was the last straw.
Just a haircut and some clothes.
No, it's the last straw. I can't take any more.
Yeah, Homer. Let your wife have a glimpse of success for once.
All right, that's the last straw.
From the man who sells me my Marlboro Lights. The final straw.
The next phrase is for all you food lovers out there, and that is out of season, because this refers to fruits and vegetables that are not grown in an area during that time. And this is a very useful phrase when talking about food because fruits and vegetables, they have a season in which they are grown. So I could say, we cannot find strawberries right now because they're out of season. Or research has shown that frozen vegetables have more nutrients in them than imported fresh vegetables that are out of season. I don't know if this is true, it's just an example, but let's go ahead and talk about pronunciation, because the final T in out, you're going to hear me pronounce it as a flap T because it comes between two vowel sounds, and then I can link that flap T with the vowel sound in of. out of season.
Remember, no prime cuts, no fancy size, no out-of-season vegetables, no market price.
Then there's in no time. This means very quickly, very soon. This is a great phrase to add emphasis, and often you're going to use it either at the beginning or end of a statement. I could say, if you watch my video lessons, you will build your vocabulary in no time. And I could just emphasize that fact. To help you better understand how this phrase is used in context, I have some more news headlines for you. 29 expert hacks to sell your home in no time. 7 easy Stairmaster workouts that'll burn calories and melt fat in no time. And finally, gardens will be colorful in no time if you plant these 5 flowers now. For pronunciation, once again, there are some overlapping sounds with the final N sound in and the beginning N sound in no. This just helps us easily transition from one word to the next. In no time. In no time.
We'll be done in no time.
She's gonna be Employee of the Month in no time.
Wade will have that $10,000 in no time.
Take it from me. This is actually the next phrase. Maybe you thought I was going to give you some advice, but it's a very useful phrase because you're going to say this. Take it from me, when you want to tell someone, accept what I'm saying as true because I know or have experienced it. Now, often you will use this, maybe when you're giving advice, and it's typically going to come at the beginning of a statement. So let's talk about this in relation to building your vocabulary. I could say, take it from me. Learning these phrases will help you improve your speaking fluency. And take it from me, the more you practice, the more confident you will feel using these phrases in casual conversation. When pronouncing this phrase, more linking may occur. We can link the final consonant sound in take with the beginning vowel sound in it. Take it. We also have overlapping M sounds from me. It almost sounds like one word, from me. Take it from me. These two things will help you say this phrase easily and naturally.
Take it from me. You're always better off with a really good lie.
Relationships are tough. Take it from me.
I'm here to make your life better because life is complicated. Take it from me, I'm recently divorced.
Then there's room for improvement. I really like this phrase, possibly because I use it quite often, and this just refers to a possibility or hope that someone or something will improve, and there's really the potential to become better. Really, it's a polite way to say that someone needs to get better or something can get better. Perhaps I tell you, your English is great, but there's room for improvement. Or commenting about myself, my teaching skills are solid, but there's still room for improvement. Here are some funny memes using this phrase because, yeah, it's important to have fun when learning a language. There is room for improvement. Now, politics aside, I personally have never really cared for how the Cybertruck looked, so yeah, I would agree with this. There is room for improvement. Or how about this one? Look at all this room for improvement. From the Sound of Music, you're surrounded by all this nature, but it's like, hey, we need more buildings, we need more malls. Look at all this room for improvement. For pronunciation, keep in mind that the word for often gets reduced, and that vowel sound's going to change slightly. So instead of for, it's going to sound like fur. It's a much softer sound. And then I can link the final consonant sound with the vowel sound in improvement. For improvement. Room for improvement.
Saying that we can do better. I'm saying there's always room for improvement.
And again, I think the offense has a lot of room for improvement, and all that starts with me.
A few hours ago, we both loved this song.
I still love it. I just think there's room for improvement.
Then there's do your utmost or try your utmost. This means to do something as well as you can by making a great effort. Really, this phrase has a similar meaning to do your best. Now, of course, it's a lot more common to say do your best, but it's always good to get a little bit of variety. Now, often you may follow this phrase with an infinitive. I could say, I will do my utmost to help you build your vocabulary. Or she assured her boss that she would do her utmost to meet the deadline. Or perhaps I tell you, try your utmost to remain calm in a difficult situation. For pronunciation, I just want to highlight the word utmost. It's not the most commonly used adjective, but there are 2 syllables and the stress is on that first syllable. Utmost. Do your utmost or try your utmost.
We must do our utmost
to avoid shedding English blood.
I shall do my utmost to help you form strong ideals.
True repentance means you try your utmost not to repeat the same mistake.
Then there's to put your mind to something, or to set your mind to something. You could use either verb, but this just means to decide that you're going to do something and put a lot of effort into it. And often you're going to use these phrases when you're trying to encourage someone. You can do anything if you put your mind to it. This is a common expression using this phrase. Or I could say, if you set your mind to achieving your goals, you'll find a way to succeed. Or you can reach your fluency goals if you put your mind to it and watch my video lessons. I like to think that that's true. For pronunciation, assimilation may occur, and the key word there is may. So assimilation is when two sounds blend together to create a new sound. In this case, the T and Y may blend together and you create this slight ch sound. Put-cher, set-cher. So we have that stop T and then we're releasing into that slight ch sound. Now, this may not always occur. Somebody may say that stop T and then you're going to hear that y in your. Put your, set your. Here are some examples.
It is plain to see that you're excellent at whatever you put your mind to.
When you set your mind to it, you're one of the most charismatic people I've ever met. You can do anything you set your mind to.
But if you're speaking a little faster, this is when I think assimilation will most likely occur. The sounds blend together and you get that slight ch sound. Put your, set your. Listen for it.
You can find something to love about every man if you put your mind to it.
Compared to everything you've already overcome, you can do anything you put your mind to.
You can achieve anything you set your mind to.
Now, when it comes to building your vocabulary, there's always room for improvement. And I really hope that you don't think building your vocabulary is of no consequence, because take it from me, learning new words and phrases, like the ones today, are going to help you be more precise when you're having a conversation. And if you would like to build your vocabulary in no time, you're going to have to try your utmost and spend some time and energy, but I think you can do it if you just put your mind to it. Now we're really going to jumpstart your vocabulary because I want to teach you different C1 collocations. And collocations are words that are frequently used together. So learning this vocabulary is really helpful because it's going to help you sound more natural when you're having a conversation, because these are the same words that native speakers often use together. So without further ado, here are some C1 collocations. Let's move on to some C1 words and some of those common collocations, and we'll begin with the verb call. So this is a verb that has, well, multiple meanings, but in this case we're talking about arranging for something to happen, such as a particular event, and usually something official. And there are some great verb-noun collocations, such as to call a meeting, or more specifically, to call an emergency meeting. And you could also call for something, and we're going to follow the verb with for. And I have a few different examples. You could call for a strike, or call for an election, or call for a halt to something. Those are some great collocations with this verb. Next is the word tedious. It's a word that I don't really like the meaning of it, but I like using it because it's very descriptive. It's an adjective that means boring or uninteresting. So we can use this to describe some specific nouns, and those are the collocations. You might talk about a tedious job, or tedious work, or even a tedious task. So once again, job, work, task, they're similar, they're synonyms, but great nouns to use with this adjective.
Jury selection is tedious work.
It's the only way to get through yet another tedious and useless task.
And then let's throw in a phrasal verb. Why not? Bubble over. And we're going to follow the phrasal verb with the word with, to bubble over with something. It means to be very excited or enthusiastic. And there are some great phrasal verb noun collocations, such as to bubble over with excitement, or to bubble over with enthusiasm, or even to bubble over with emotion. And hopefully it makes it a little easier to grasp these collocations, because excitement, enthusiasm, emotion, Once again, they're really synonyms. I am bubbling over with excitement to continue teaching you more collocations with the next word, which is burning. And no, I'm not talking about fire. This word has a couple of different meanings, and I want to talk to you about collocations with each. So the first meaning would refer to something that is very strong. And there are some great adjective noun collocations like a burning desire or a burning ambition. So it's a great way to add emphasis.
Firefighters have a passion for their work. Arsonists just have a burning desire.
Is that even a joke?
It's a wordplay or a parody.
The next meaning is a subject or question that must be dealt with or answered quickly. And there are also a couple adjective noun collocations with this meaning. Maybe you're talking about a burning issue or even a burning question. So again, we're really adding emphasis because we're not talking about a normal question. We're talking about a burning question.
You look like a boy with a burning question. One that my tarot cards can answer better than any book.
Then we have the verb capture, and the meaning that we're going to talk about is to feel interested or excited by something. And there are a few different verb-noun collocations, such as to capture the imagination, or to capture the attention, or to capture the interest. And you could follow each of these collocations with the word of, to capture the imagination of someone. We could also put a pronoun between the verb and the noun. I could say that, well, someone's trying to capture the audience's attention, or something captured my imagination. And I hope that this lesson has captured your interest. And if it has, and you've learned something new, you can let me know by hitting that like button. You're doing great. Let's continue building your vocabulary with some informal phrases. And by that, I'm talking about some C1 idioms. So idioms are quite often used in just casual conversation. So I think it's going to help with your listening comprehension, but I also think it's useful to try to use them when you're having a conversation. And one thing I often hear from learners is that you may hear someone use an idiom in a conversation and you understand it, but maybe when you're talking, you don't feel comfortable using idioms, or maybe you just don't even think about it. And that's really what I want you to work on, because learning this vocabulary is just like learning any other word or phrase. You try to understand the meaning, figure out how it's used in context, and then just go out and practice. So let's learn some C1 idioms so that you can go out and try to practice them the next time you're having a conversation. I want to set the record straight. Learning these advanced and common C1 idioms will help you do two things. You will build your vocabulary as well as improve your overall fluency by having a more natural way of speaking. So let's begin with an idiom that I just mentioned, to set the record straight. This means to write or say something in order to make the true facts known. So it's really a great way to emphasize the fact that you want to explain the truth, or at least tell someone what you believe is the truth. Now, you may also use this idiom with the verb put, to put the record straight. But as you can see, it's overwhelmingly more common to use the verb set, to set the record straight. When pronouncing this idiom, it's pretty simple and straightforward. There are some overlapping sounds with the final stop T in set and the voice TH in the. So your tongue is going to be behind your top front teeth, and you're just going to transition from one sound right into the next. Set the record straight. It allows for a much easier and smoother transition from one word to the next. I always try to strike a balance between giving you a lot of useful information while not overwhelming you at the same time. And to strike a balance is the next idiom that I want to teach you. This means to achieve a state in which two things occur in equal or proper amounts, or have an equal or proper amount of importance. And often you're going to follow this idiom with the preposition between, to strike a balance between two things. So you may need to strike a balance between work and family. You may need to strike a balance between screen time and social activities. You may need to strike a balance between how much you make and how much you spend. So this is really a great idiom to tell someone that you're trying to satisfy the need for both things. Instead of just satisfying the need for one thing, you need to strike a balance. When pronouncing this phrase, there is some linking that may occur. We can link the final consonant sound in strike with the beginning vowel sound in and it's almost like we're moving that consonant sound over. Strike to strike a balance. Try to listen for it.
We need to strike a balance between your needs as investigators and the First Amendment rights of the sun and its source.
The color of anger, rage, but also the color of the heart, of love. This strikes the perfect balance between the two.
The next one that I have for you is to not think twice. This means to do something immediately without considering whether or not it's a good idea. So there are two things I want to point out with this idiom. The first thing is that you're often going to use this to talk about something in the past that you did without thinking about it. You did not think twice. The other thing is that you may often follow this idiom with the preposition about. You did not think twice about something. So to give you a better idea as to how this idiom is used in context, I have some news headlines for you. Teen star Tallis Magno, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, did not think twice about joining NYCFC. I didn't think twice, man says, after rescuing motorists who fell into sea. I did not think twice about swallowing capsules to smuggle drugs to Malta. Now, one thing I want to say is that you may hear people use this in the affirmative, telling you, hey, think twice, which would mean that you should think about something before doing it. And in this case, I guess I would say you should think twice before you decide to smuggle drugs to any country. But of course, you should not think twice about hitting that like button, so please, you can go ahead and do that. The next idiom that I want to teach you is at short notice, or you could say on short notice. This idiom is used to say there is only a short time before something happens. And you may use it when talking about something in which generally you need a little more time to plan, but it's coming soon. So if I asked you to write a 20-page essay and give it to me tomorrow, you may say, look, I can't do that on such short notice. You need more time. Or if I tell you they were engaged, but then got married on such short notice. It's also used to say that you did something immediately after someone asks. So I could tell you, thank you for coming at such short notice. One thing I want to point out is that you may often use this idiom with such, at such short notice or on such short notice. When pronouncing this phrase, and this is more specific to the American accent because I am from the United States, the T in notice, I am going to pronounce that as a flap T. It's going to sound more like a soft D. This is because that T comes between two vowel sounds, notice. At such short notice, on such short notice, let's listen to some more examples.
And I don't know where to find a replacement on such short notice.
First, I want to thank all of you for putting together those proposals for Pakistan on such short notice.
Bless you for coming at such short notice.
I'm Trixie. Thank you for coming at such short notice, Trixie.
Wait and see. This means to wait and discover what will happen. And often you're going to use this in a couple of different contexts. So the first one would just be to be patient, that you need to wait and, well, let's find out what the results are. If I were to say, we don't know how your body is going to react to the medication. We'll just have to wait and see. Or I could use it in the context of really expressing confidence that I'm right, and I'm telling you, like, look, just wait. You will eventually see that I was correct. If I were to say, the United States is going to win the next World Cup, you just wait and see. And I just have that confidence that my prediction, whatever it is that I'm saying, is going to be true. For pronunciation, it may seem simple, wait and see, but I'm not really going to say it like that. I would say wait and see. So what's going on? And in spoken English is often reduced to just N. And with the American accent, when you have the T followed by an N, that T may get changed to a glottal T. So think about these words right here and just listen for that glottal T when I say mountain, certain, kitten. The sounds coming from your throat, waitin', wait and see. I want you to try to listen for that glottal T.
Just wait and see.
You have to wait and see.
Wait and see. Oh, yeah? Wait and see.
Oh, you just wait and see.
The next idiom is to take something at face value. This means to accept something as it appears rather than studying it more closely. So really, you would be accepting something as true even though you don't really know if it's true. Perhaps you don't come to work and you tell me that you're sick. Well, I may not know that that's true or not, but I will take your word at face value. And in this case, your word just means whatever it is that you're saying. To give you another example, I would love it if you write to me in the comments. And you're probably thinking, okay, yes, I will do that. I don't know if it's true. I want to believe you. So once again, I will take your word at face value. Here are some more examples.
This is a troubled man. I mean, we can't take everything he says at face value.
Okay.
So that's it? You just accept my answer at face value? Why?
How the hell did we miss that?
Apparently CIA took the stats at face value.
Then we have the best of both worlds. This means that you get to enjoy the advantages of two very different things at the same time. So I could say that you get the best of both worlds when you work very little but make a lot of money. Or perhaps you get the best of both worlds when you don't study at all but you get perfect grades. Or maybe you get the best of both worlds when you eat a lot of junk food, unhealthy food, fast food, whatever, and your doctor tells you that you're in great health. So you can use this idiom to accurately describe such a situation. It's the best of both worlds. When pronouncing this phrase, I just want to point out that more linking may occur. We can link the final consonant sound in best with the vowel sound in of, best of, the best of both worlds.
The goal, of course, is to be like you. All our strengths, of our weaknesses. You got the best of both worlds.
It's half keyboard, half guitar.
So is it a guitar or a keyboard?
Exactly. It's the best of both worlds, so...
I put the brains and the brawn together. And now look at me. Best of both worlds.
The next idiom, to be in the public eye. This means to be famous and written about in newspapers and magazines or seen on television and in movies. So really, celebrities, athletes, these are people who are generally in the public eye. So to help you better understand how this idiom is used in context, I thought it would be fun to read some celebrity quotes using this idiom. So Taylor Swift says, "It's dangerous to read the internet about yourself when you're me or when you're anyone in the public eye." Ricky Henderson, "People recognize me, but if you've been in the public eye as long as I have and people don't recognize you, I feel bad about myself." I don't know why Ricky feels that way. In case you don't know who Ricky Henderson is, he was a famous baseball player a long time ago. The next one, "I am not a big fan of Mike Tyson. I almost idolized him for what he did in the ring. He was such a great fighter, but his behavior out of the ring, he needed to realize he was in the public eye, and there is a responsibility." Well said, Tommy Morrison. One thing I want to add about this idiom is that even though you can say that people are in the public eye, you could also say that people are out of the public eye. For example, if I were to say, even though some celebrities are in the public eye, they often hope to keep their children out of the public eye. For pronunciation, you guessed it, more linking may occur. We can link the final consonant sound in public with the beginning vowel sound in I, public eye, to be in the public eye. Next is the idiom, get a grip. And I say it like that because it means to make an effort to control your emotions and behave more calmly. And somebody just tells you as like a command, get a grip.
Sarah, get a grip! Get a grip!
And now it's going to ruin Sam's life as well.
Get a grip.
What's a biopsy? Get a grip.
You're right, T.
Or you may follow this with the preposition on and a reflexive pronoun. And because you're typically talking to another person, you would say, get a grip on yourself.
All right, okay, McFly. Get a grip on yourself. It's all a dream.
What about Jim? We can't just leave him down there.
Please get a grip on yourself, Doctor.
You've got to get a grip on yourself, Stewie. Put Rupert and Chris out of your head.
For pronunciation, there are two things I want to point out. First, that final T in get. Because I'm from the US, I am going to pronounce it as a flap T that I can then link with the vowel sound in the article get a. I can also link the final consonant sound in grip with the beginning vowel sound in on, grip on. So we have two phrases that we can link together. I'll say it slowly. Get a grip on yourself. Now, I want to say it a little faster. I want you to repeat after me. Get a grip on yourself. Good. The next idiom, off the record. This is used to indicate that what someone is saying should not be publicly reported. And this is an idiom that you're probably not going to use it that often, but it is certainly one that you will hear if you watch movies and TV shows. So really this idiom may be used in the context of one person asking questions and the other person, perhaps they want to be honest, but they just don't want the information to be publicly reported. So perhaps someone is interviewing a famous celebrity who is in the public eye, and they ask, did you get along well with the other actors? And you say, yes, we got along well, but off the record, there were a lot of issues. Please keep in mind that just as something may be off the record, it can also be on the record, in which case it is okay to be publicly reported.
Do code reds still happen on this base?
You want to ask me about code reds on the record, I tell you I discourage the practice of off the record. I tell you it is an invaluable part of close infantry training.
Then we have the idiom up to speed. This means all the latest information about an activity or subject. And often you're going to use this idiom with the verb get, to get someone up to speed, or the verb bring, to bring someone up to speed. We hired a math tutor to work with your daughter so we can get her up to speed. Or he missed the meeting because his flight was delayed. Could you please bring him up to speed? For pronunciation, the only thing that I want to point out is that weak, unstressed to, because when it's unstressed, it may sound a bit more like it has that schwa sound, to, up to speed. To bring someone up to speed or to get someone up to speed. Again, just listen for it.
Jump in, and then when this calms down, maybe we can grab a cup of coffee.
I'd love to. Be a chance to get you up to speed before I start. I will find you.
Get me up to speed?
It's a miracle he survived this long. Better bring him up to speed.
I'll need the copywriters and Sal in here. Get me up to speed.
Oh, it's Dante. Bring me up to speed.
And then we have rule of thumb. This refers to a practical approach and way of doing something based on experience. And often you may use this idiom with the word general and talk about a general rule of thumb. So let's look at some general rules of thumb in business. You should overpromise and underdeliver. No, I got that wrong. That is not a rule of thumb. You should underpromise and overdeliver. Another rule of thumb is that you should set benchmarks for reaching goals. And another rule of thumb is that you should sell what people will buy. Now we can get a little silly and have fun with comics and memes. I like this one. All should be under me. That is certainly the rule of thumb. Or I rule 'cause I has thumb. And that cat really does look like he has a thumb. And I don't know why they said I has. I think just being playful and having fun. And finally, if it tastes good, don't eat it. Yeah, that could be a general rule of thumb. And sometimes I feel like that's what my doctor is trying to tell me. Here are some more examples.
My bannerman would think I'm a fool for coming in. If I was your hand, I would have advised against it. General rule of thumb. Stark men don't fare well when they travel south.
After a heart attack, rule of thumb is, if you can climb a flight of stairs, you can have sex.
What to you is a large crowd?
Any group big enough to trample me to death. General rule of thumb is 36 adults or 70 children.
Now for a little review. I hope that I was able to strike a balance between giving you helpful information as well as making it easy to follow and understand. because building vocabulary, I think a general rule of thumb is that you don't want to overwhelm people with too many words. And of course, it's always good to review, just like we're doing right now. I believe that you will take my word at face value. And of course, when it comes to using idioms, I think people often worry that they're going to make a mistake. And what I would recommend is that you don't think twice about using these idioms and practice using them in casual conversation. I think it's always going to help. And if you make a mistake, just don't worry about it. Over time, it's all going to come together. You just wait and see. I know I'm giving you a lot of information, and I do not expect you to memorize all of this vocabulary. One of the primary goals of a longer, more detailed lesson like this is just to get exposure to the language. And hopefully you're able to make it a part of your passive vocabulary in which you understand it, and then over time make it a part of your active vocabulary in which you're able to go out and use it. So let's continue with some useful C1 expressions that are certainly going to help you be more descriptive and precise. Let's learn some advanced expressions, and this lesson is going to be extremely informative, to say the least. And let's start with that last expression, to say the least. So you would use this when you want to say that you could have expressed something in a much stronger and more detailed way. However, you chose not to elaborate and give more information. Something else I want to say about this expression is that typically you're going to use it at the end of a statement. Maybe you don't want to talk about something or give more information, or perhaps it's just not relevant. So if I say, the flight was a bumpy ride, to say the least. Somebody asked me, hey, how was your flight? And I don't want to give a lot of detail or really have to explain it, so I can use this expression to draw attention to bumpy flight without having to give those extra details. It was a bumpy flight, to say the least. Or I could use this expression when I don't want to be too critical and I don't want to be too rude, and I could say, dinner wasn't very good, to say the least. So once again, I'm drawing attention to the fact that the dinner wasn't that good, but I don't have to give extra information, because if I said the chicken was undercooked and I think I might get food poisoning, that could come off as being a little rude. So you could use this expression to really tamper down the level of criticism. When pronouncing this, there are two unstressed words that I'd like to point out. The first one is to. So when it's unstressed, it's going to sound weaker, and it'll sound like t with that schwa sound. The other unstressed word is the article the, and this is because it comes before a word that begins with a consonant sound. And I think the article is commonly pronounced with that schwa, the. So altogether, it's going to sound like to say the least. To say the least. Just listen for it.
Young master, how does it feel to walk on a new world?
Exciting, to say the least.
Has identified the atheist as Brian Griffin of Spooner Street. Here's the reaction from City Hall.
Shocking, to say the least.
The next expression that I want to teach you, to give someone the benefit of the doubt. So this may be used in situations in which there's a lot of uncertainty, but you're going to believe someone or give that person a favorable judgment or opinion. So if you're really skeptical, you may still say, okay, I believe you, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. To help you better understand how this expression is used in context, I have some news headlines for you. Give Pope Francis the benefit of the doubt. I don't know what people are skeptical of, but the headline is saying, hey, just trust him, believe him. Progressives get benefit of the doubt when accusations of bullying fly. And the Supreme Court has lost benefit of the doubt. So with these last two headlines, I'd like to point out that verb that's being used. Overwhelmingly, you're going to use this with the verb give, to give someone the benefit of the doubt. However, you may use it with other verbs as well. For pronunciation, there are a couple of things that I want to talk about. The first is that final T in benefit. I am going to pronounce this as a flap T because I'm from the United States and this is very common with the American accent. When the T comes between two vowel sounds, often I am going to say it as a flap T. It's going to sound more like a soft D. and then I can link that flap T with the beginning vowel sound in of. And linking commonly occurs when one word ends in a consonant sound and the next word begins with a vowel sound. So it's going to sound like benefit of. To give someone the benefit of the doubt. Now, if you were to tell me that you want to improve your pronunciation and practice speaking, well, I'll certainly give you the benefit of the doubt. And the next expression that I have for you is per se. This is a Latin term that means of or by itself. It's a little more formal, so it's not one that you're going to use all the time in just everyday conversation. But you can use this to emphasize the importance of other factors. Money, per se, does not make people truly happy. True happiness comes from the relationships that you build with others. So I'm saying money by itself, it doesn't make people truly happy, and I'm using per se to emphasize the importance of other factors. And that is why I follow it with the next sentence, because it helps complete the thought. This is not a criticism of the government per se. It's about holding people accountable. Once again, I'm using per se to emphasize the importance of other factors. I was born in the state of Alabama. It's not a famous state per se, but it does have some charming towns. Here are a couple of other examples to help make this easier to understand.
Upstairs from here, but under you. Not under you per se, but under your apartment.
No, meeting's not over.
But is there anything relevant to the sales staff here?
No sales topic per se.
Well, then no Andy Bernard per se.
When pronouncing this expression, I just want to focus on that second word, say. Even though it's spelled S-E, you're going to pronounce it with that long A sound, say, per se. The next expression, at the end of the day. I really like this one, maybe because I feel like I use it quite often, but this means when everything is taken into consideration, and then you're going to say the most important thing about a situation. So this expression is an adverb phrase that it's very similar to saying ultimately, and typically you're going to use it at the beginning of a sentence or clause. So I could say, you can give me your opinion, but at the end of the day, I'm going to make the final decision. Or perhaps you're in a situation in which there are a lot of different choices, and it was a difficult decision to make, and perhaps the result was a good one. And you could say, at the end of the day, I made the right decision. When you pronounce this expression, I want you to keep in mind that the article the is both stressed and unstressed. It's stressed when it comes before the vowel sound in end, the end, and it's unstressed when it comes before the consonant sound in day, the day. There's also linking that may occur. We can link that final consonant sound in end with the beginning vowel sound in of, end of. So listen for those two things, the stressed and unstressed the, along with linking.
And then, just Richard and I, because at the end of the day, people only want to see a picture of the board members.
But at the end of the day, the fact that we show up for each other is reason enough to keep believing.
But to add one thing when it comes to usage, another time people would use this expression is when they're upset and they're really angry, and it's like they're saying, okay, fine, do it. And you can really hear the frustration.
You want to spend the rest of your life with your head up your ass? Be my guest.
Can I put Randy to bed, please?
You want to sleep here? Be my guest.
When pronouncing this expression, it's pretty simple and straightforward. You're just saying the three words, one right after the other. Be my guest. Be my guest. And then we have to give someone a run for their money. This means to not allow someone to win easily. So often you're going to use this expression in some sort of competitive situation, like a sport or a game. I also want you to keep in mind the grammar, because we have an object pronoun as well as an adjective pronoun. You are going to give me a run for my money. They're going to give us a run for our money. But people are not really going to pronounce it like that. I was really trying to emphasize those pronouns. So let's talk about pronunciation right now. And there are a few different things I want to tell you about, and some of it really depends on that object pronoun. No matter what, I think people are going to reduce the word for to fur, And I want you to listen for that. But if the object pronoun is me, we have give me, we can reduce that to gimme. Give me a run for my money.
But it looks like you're going to give me a run for my money.
Now, if someone is him, her, or them, in that case, elision may occur, which is when certain sounds or syllables get removed. So if we remove that first consonant sound of each word, we can then link the phrases together. Give him, give him. Give her, give her. Give them, give them. Once again, just listen for it.
You're giving her a run for her money.
I'm at least going to give him a run for his money.
What do you say we give them a run for their money, huh?
So hopefully you can hear those three things, that weak fur, along with elision and linking. Then there's the expression sooner rather than later. And this is really an extension of the binomial pair, sooner or later, which means something is going to happen, but you're not exactly sure when. So with this expression, it can mean fairly soon. It's going to rain probably sooner rather than later, fairly soon. But it could also mean without too much delay. I want you to turn in the report. I need it sooner rather than later. So I need it without much delay.
You're going to run out. My guess is sooner rather than later. Painful detox is inevitable.
No. I'll go alone.
I'll see you after.
Right?
Sooner rather than later, I hope.
It will work, and we need this to work sooner rather than later.
For pronunciation, there is some co-articulation, which refers to overlapping sounds. And in this case, I think it's pretty straightforward. That final R sound in sooner is going to overlap with the beginning R sound in rather. And it just allows us to make a very smooth transition from one word to the next. Sooner rather than later. Sooner rather than later. And then we have on the fence. This is another expression that I like, probably because I use it quite often, and it means not being able to decide something. And usually it's between two choices, but not always. So think about it. If you are on a fence, you may fall on this side or you may fall on the other. You're not really sure. So this also implies a difficult and tough decision, and it's often used with the verb to be on the fence. I don't know which job applicant to choose. I'm really on the fence. Sometimes I ask you to write to me in the comments. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Perhaps you're on the fence, and in that case, I would encourage you to write to me because, yeah, I love hearing from you. For pronunciation, just know that linking may occur. It really depends on the verb to be. I'm on the fence. She's on the fence. You're on the fence. So in that case, you may be able to link that final consonant sound with the beginning vowel sound in on. I know that we covered a lot this past hour, and I really hope that you learned something new. Just keep in mind that building your vocabulary takes time, and I also hope that this lesson will be a great resource when it comes to learning C1 vocabulary. If you enjoyed this lesson and you did learn something new, you can let me know by hitting that like button. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. So long.